Hi there, welcome to Tarotland Soap Opera. I'm going to do a reading for Aries energy. And like usual on this channel, we're going to do two rows. The top row could be what you want to do in your life when you connect in with your emotionally loving, intuitive nature. The bottom row could be what you're tempted to do and you're tempted to make a decision more out of fear or insecurity or pride or ego or codependency or something, or it can just be between two different people. So move it around as you need to move it around. I might refer to the bottom row a lot as they, and I might talk about a lot more shadowy characteristics than you have, but you can fit it to your own story. It's there's a wide range of stories. We don't know the depths of what some people are like, right? And you could be cross-watching for an Aries, and you could find out you're the one who harnesses high vibe Aries, and they harness more shadow Aries energy. Use your intuition about where you and different people are in the world in your Aries energy. Anyway, in the top row, we have the Eight of Pentacles, the Queen of Cups, the Hierophant, the Six of Wands, and the reason for the reading is the Seven of Wands. So it's also the reason why the reading came out. If some people had been in a relationship with someone else before and that person was defensive to moving forward with them in a relationship or at a workplace, they decided to look to the future. And as some people were looking to the future, they could have gotten in some people got in relationships with people who could have seemed like they were willing to emotionally invest in them, but some people want to emotionally invest in people, and it's like, this is great, let's stay right here. I don't really want to move forward in a relationship. I'm defensive to that. Other people could have gotten in a relationship with someone and the person who they went to go get in a relationship with is someone who's kind of more emotionally attached to living life kind of maybe the way they always have. And their idea is to move forward in a relationship, but it's more because of the ego and the image and the status and the money and the materialism. They might be someone who presents themselves as loving, but their Taurus energy, which is about our underlying philosophy of life, could be more ego-based and defensive-based instead of let's get in a relationship and let's grow and mature ourselves and really bring the dream into reality, all of us growing to be our full potential. Some people who had to turn their back and move on from one relationship got in another relationship and they didn't realize the person that they could be kind of in a mutually loving relationship. It's just that they realize that their kind of drives and motivations for maybe moving forward in the relationship is different. So you could read it as that someone is working with another person who wants to get in a relationship to have a victory, and the one person's kind of defensive to it. Well, why would they be defensive to it? Because either someone was working with someone, but they never planned, so they wouldn't harness high vibe energy. It's like, I was just trying to stop you from maybe going on and getting in a relationship with someone else. If you're harnessing high vibe Aries and high vibe Virgo energy and high vibe Leo energy, you're someone who puts in work and effort to gain insight and wisdom about your issues, so that you're probably not acting in a selfish, greedy, prideful, bossy, controlling way of being. And you're kind of inspired by life, and you take creative, inspired action, and maybe you just in general a passionate person. And yeah, there's people in the world who want to work with people like that, but like I say, some don't really want to move forward, like in a marriage or a commitment. And some people could kind of wonder, why aren't they willing to move forward in a marriage or a commitment? Well, some people might not want to move forward in a marriage or a commitment because they could feel that the main reason somebody would even want to maybe be in a marriage or a commitment with them is because of ego, money, status, image, power. And some people just don't want to do the whole marriage path for that, If you want to be in a relationship with me, be in a relationship with me, If I seem to be like putting in work and effort and it's not like I'm being defensive or being like a player, I'm willing to work with you maybe in a relationship. I just have a thing about seeming like people sometimes want to get in relationships because of money or image or status. Why is that so important? Why can't we just move forward? For some people, someone could have been working with someone where the Queen of Cups can talk about mutual love, that there is love there and affection, but the relationship could be more about ego or an image. And for some people, their intuition could be telling them that unless that's your dream life, is to move forward in a relationship that might seem more about ego and image. You might have someone in your life who's willing to work with you. You might have someone in your life who wants you to marry them, but that, I don't know, you don't really think you want to do that, or that they might want. Some people could have different people that they could work with, just like we have our dualistic nature. Are we going to align with our more emotional nature that is more attached to repeating these patterns of the past, where maybe we look at relationships as like a job? Or are we going to work with our more loving, intuitive, creative nature that offers love to our view of life and how we view relationships, to look at relationships as more of something, creative and inspired? There's definitely people in the world who do look at jobs more as a job, male or female. The reason I'm supposed to get in a relationship is to make it look like I'm stable or grounded or nurturing, or that I'm victorious or I'm successful, or have someone to indulge my sexual needs with. And I'm kind of doing that in a man voice, but it could be male or female. And there's women too who think, well, the reason I want to be in a relationship is, some people don't think that they look like, at least in their own mind, by their own mind, maybe because of the way they view other people in the world, but it certainly doesn't mean that other people view that way, people in the world. But they could think like, I don't know, like they have less status or power, or looked at as being valuable or something if they're not in a relationship or a marriage, which I think is kind of crazy. Why be in a marriage where it's all about ego and image and money and materialism? I think you could feel a lot more sad about a relationship like that than if you're living your life independently and free, and that if you get in a relationship with people, it's based on love and truth and honesty instead of pride and ego and fear and insecurity. But some people are working with some people and it's a wonderful relationship. They have no problems. They're standing up and defending that relationship. There's other people in the world who kind of could be in their ego about it. And even if this person isn't in a relationship, they've put in work and effort to love and believe in themselves. and they're walking the talk and acting with character and integrity, and they're moving forward, being authentically themselves, not letting their fear and their insecurity and their codependency and whatever run their life, and they're standing up for themselves. And then those are the type of people that they want to have move forward with them, people who are on the same page as that. And generally, we've all got some friends and some family or children or parents or siblings or coworkers. You know, if it's a workplace or in just a social dynamic, you know, generally we have some other people who are on the same page as us that, you know, are working with us because they like the fact that you're a loving person, that, you know, you're grounded and practical and creative and inspired, and you walk the talk, and you don't act with pettiness and envious and jealousy and, you know, self-centeredness and all that stuff. And so they like being in a relationship with you, and everybody's standing up for whatever type of relationships they're in with people who are like that in their life. It's just that some people could be working with someone who knows that the reason some people are in relationship with them is because more of the ego and the image and the status and the money and materialism, and they're very defensive of this relationship. Like, they're mine, back up. But their whole reason for being in the relationship isn't maybe sometimes motivated by love. I'm looking for someone to work with so that I look victorious and successful. Oh, look, I found you. Or, oh, look, I found you. But then you find out that they're, you know, they portray themselves as being like high vibe Aries energy, that they're bold and brave and inspired and willing to step out of their comfort zone and, you know, all that good stuff, but they're not. It's kind of like, well, no, now that I got you in a relationship with me, really, I just want to move forward like this. You know, we got the image, we got the status, you know, this is good. I don't want to step outside my comfort zone. I don't want to listen to my intuition. I want you to quit listening to your intuition. Let's just stay right here. The whole thing is it becomes stagnant, and, you know, life and like the universe is ever expanding. We're meant to deal with some of our fears and insecurities about doing things differently, and some people emotionally have this way of being in relationships and viewing relationships, and everybody has to do it like that. And if you didn't grow up in a family like that, or you're kind of more bold and brave and creative, and it feels like, I don't know, it's kind of like a relationship by numbers. Like, well, here, A fits in B, and then we do that. Oh, no, no, you never put A and C. No, it has, no, this is the way we did it. And that's where it needs to be, you know. I don't know, it's kind of weird to realize that some people are like that, but some people are very kind of fixed in how they do things, and they like things being the way that they've always been, and they don't like change. And they also might be people who really don't like to take kind of creative, inspired action in their life, kind of like shining their light authentically in the world, because then people could judge them. And some people like to be in relationships and in relationships with other people where, no, we don't step outside the comfort zone. You know, we do what everyone else does, and because we don't want people to judge us, and we need to conform, and don't stand up for yourself, don't, you know, kind of step outside of societal norms, you know. And then some people who are more people who listen to their intuition and more creative and inspired, yeah, they find it really stifling to be in a relationship with someone like that. So what could be going on in shadowy energy? We have the World card, the Two of Cups, the Eight of Wands, the King of Pentacles, and the reason their reading came out is because of the Leo Strength card. So the reason for both readings of why, which is really kind of interesting, is Leo energy. How do we harness our Leo energy? Everybody could have been in relationships where someone was defensive to, to moving forward in a relationship. The World card can be that a relationship ended. Some people had been in a relationship working together with people moving forward, thinking everything was victorious and successful and their dreams were going to come into reality, and then it ended. For some people, it ended because some people were defensive to putting work and effort into the relationship based on love, because their idea of relationship is where you treat a relationship maybe more like a job, and it's more about being in the relationship because of ego or image. And if they are people who have money or status or position or power or think they're good looking, their idea of the way they planned to live their life was that they weren't gonna have to put in work and effort from love. People would want to be in a relationship with them, maybe because of these things of the world that they have, and that people would want to be in a relationship with them. And that person who emotionally wanted to invest in them, they were the person who put in work and effort to make it seem like the relationship was moving forward victoriously. And they could keep being defensive. And they might have harnessed some shadowy Aries energy where I don't align with my loving nature. I'm kind of more inspired by my worldly nature. And so I could have put in work and effort to have those things of the world, to be attractive, to be good looking, to whatever, or have money or status or power, whatever their thing is. And then I thought other people would want to be in relationship with me and move forward in a relationship with me because I had those things. And they'd kind of be in their ego about it and happy that they were in a relationship with me because of these things that we have. But I never thought I was going to have to put work and effort from love. Everybody's got their ideas about relationships, right? And some people can have some really screwy ideas about relationships, that we all justify what we think is just and fair. We got people out there robbing and killing people, and they justify their actions. Well, some people think it's just and fair that if they have a certain way of being in the world for some reason, that people would want to maybe invest in them. Now, I don't think loving people can think that other people would want to invest in them because they're loving, but it's not to use the fact that they're loving as a way to manipulate people, because loving people aren't wanting and interested in manipulating people. So this would be people that are more aligned with their worldly egoic nature. Some people could have been defensive. They are in high vibe energy. A relationship ended. Kind of had them in their shadow energy a little bit. They could have wanted to work with someone that they had been in a relationship with, but that person could have moved on and had a relationship with someone else. Well, what do we do when that happens? We've all been there, most likely, if any of you have ever had a boyfriend or girlfriend in your life. We can either take creative, inspired action in our life to put in work and effort to gain insight and wisdom about the whole situation and get out of our ego about it and start putting in work and effort to love ourselves so that we can get back up on the horse again, get out of our ego about it and move forward in life. Sadly, some people have had that type of life situation happen, and because someone who they wanted to work with in a relationship, it ended, instead of putting in the work and effort to figure out, for one reason, why did the relationship end? Why, if I thought there was love there, why did the relationship end? Is it that they had some growing up and maturing to do? Well, then we accept that, maybe they had some growing up and maturing to do. sometimes, what is that unspoken thing that makes us feel like we're sure this is a person we can move forward with in a relationship? We can love people and think, this, I don't think I could do this. There's something, and it's an inexplicable thing that we really can't put our finger on. And if other people moved away because of those reasons, we need to see the truth of that. And, again, the whole thing is not to take it personally. And were some people more materialistic and prideful and egotistical? Were they wanting to be in a relationship and we weren't really ready to get in a commitment? Is that what they were looking for? And if you said you weren't interested in it, in that they moved on and maybe got in a relationship with someone else. We've also got to see what part we played in why relationships didn't work out. Were we more emotionally invested in the past? Were we more emotionally invested in our job than working together with people in a relationship? Had we decided, I'm not going to align with love, I'm going to make my life all about the world? Or, at different times of our life, we can be more inspired, like to get that foundation set in our life. Why are we so determined to set that foundation in our life? I mean, it's one thing if you need to really focus on your career, your education, because that is your long-term plan. And if for some reason being in a relationship with someone else you feel would really not enable you to have that dream come true in your life. But otherwise, sometimes some people are just not wanting to get in a relationship till they have that foundation in their life. Well, by the time they get that foundation established in their life, other people might have moved on. Some people could be defensive about that because they decided to align with their more worldly or materialistic nature or their career. Other people could have moved forward in loving relationships and are moving forward victoriously. Well, what are those people going to do? Are they going to put in work and effort to love and still believe in themselves that their dreams can come true? Or are they going to keep making their life about money and materialism? Some people had an opportunity to move forward with loving people, but because they were more emotionally invested in the past, instead of stepping out of their comfort zone and maybe being more authentic and warm and loving, they thought, I can just go get in a relationship with someone who kind of views life the way I do. And these people I'm in relationship with kind of harness a more high vibe Aries or a high vibe Leo energy. And I'm kind of more about a worldly Leo energy and being in relationships and getting in relationships more because maybe conforming to the world dream and getting in relationships because of the money and the status and the image. Well, sometimes people go do that, and some people are going to go do that. If there's some prideful, egotistical people that previously could have been in relationships with loving people, but they were defensive to getting out of their worldly Leo energy, they're more materialistic, or this is how I view relationships and I should be the privileged person or whatever. They could have been defensive in the loving relationship they were in because those people wanted them to get out of their more worldly, egoic view of life and maybe incorporate some love into their philosophy of life. And it could have been about learning lessons in life and growing and maturing yourself. And some people who have a lot of things in the world already, it can be really hard for them because they know that there's people who would want to be in a relationship with them because they're good looking or they got money. And, it can, when you know that there'd probably be a lot of people who'd be willing to be in a relationship with you, but, some of those people can be quite prideful and arrogant. It's kind of like, I have these things of the world. I don't have to grow up and mature myself. there'll be someone else who wants to be in a relationship with me. And I don't think originally people start out with that thought, but that is maybe an underlying thought that kind of lays dormant beneath the surface. And as relationships go by and time goes by, I think when we're younger, we can't see it within ourselves and we can't really see it within others. And we all kind of have some rose colored glasses, I think, when we're younger. But I think as you get older, you can definitely more see it in people that is kind of like that aspect within them grew more and more and more because they weren't taking action to really, who focused on incorporating love in their foundation of self so that they truly were someone to look up to and admire. They might have tried to present themselves as being that type of person, but really they were kind of more nurturing and aligning with their more worldly egoic nature. And maybe that's why as people get older you can kind of see a little more clearly of what they align with in a way within themselves, what drives them and motivates them, because the inner child, hopeful, dreaming nature that we could have all had when we were younger has kind of faded away from some people. And so it's a little more easier to see. So I think some people are in good relationships. I think some people are presenting a facade. They're staying in a relationship because of the money and the materialism, and maybe because of their fear and their insecurity. This looks great so long as this person is willing to indulge them, so long as they're willing to indulge that person. It looks great by worldly standards. It looks like they got the status, the image, the money, and they're not willing to let it go. And some of you who, and then some people are in healthy relationships. The rest of you who might know people who stay in relationships for not loving reasons, we just have to accept the truth of it, that that's how they choose to move forward in their life, and put in work and effort focused on our future and love, and keep putting in work and effort to not get kind of caught up in the energy of the world, because the world always tries to suck us in to make us make our life about that shit. And it's like, no, I'm going to keep putting in the work and effort to keep staying out of my ego, staying out of my fear, staying out of my competitive energy, and taking creative, inspired action to live my life authentically. And if I'm in a loving relationship with people who aren't selfish and greedy and prideful, I'm also going to defend myself and the people I love against being tempted by other people. Because if you're a loving person in a loving relationship, there could be other people who are like, well, I want you to be my loving partner. I want you to quit putting in work and effort with those people. And I want you to communicate and move forward with me. Let those people move on. I'm in my ego. I want somebody loving. You come down here and be in a relationship with me. Well, I would say that's not the best idea, because if they're not respecting the fact that you're in a loving relationship, they're really kind of all about themselves and they don't really care who gets hurt. And so that would mean they're a very self-centered, egotistical, all about themselves nature, and it probably won't work out well. So don't be tempted. And some people were tempted and they didn't move forward with you because they did have someone that they could go get in a relationship with, or who communicated with them that, look at me, I have all these things. If you stay with that person, you have to put in work and effort and have hope and faith and belief that you can manifest this. I already have it. Come get in a relationship with me. And some of those people went to go do that, and they're trying to be strong about the fact that that's what they decided to do. And the loving people in their life probably feel betrayed and are defensive to them because, they gave up on putting work and effort into manifesting a dream into reality. And it just revealed the truth of what you maybe weren't seeing about someone else. You work with love, and they maybe put in work and effort for other people to like love and encourage them, but they maybe don't. They kind of work more with the world and think they have to work more with things of the world to make their dreams come into reality because they don't connect in with their more emotionally intuitive nature. And so if someone else who had the money and the materialism said, I've got it all, you can just come get in a relationship with me. You don't have to put in work and effort or be bold and brave and confident or anything. I've got it. You just have to temper your own ego because I will be the person who is the boss in this relationship. And some people right now are going to do that. They have an opportunity to move forward with loving, creative, inspired people, and some of them won't. And it reveals the truth that for some of them, they were aligned with their more worldly nature. You just weren't seeing it or were hopeful that they would come out of it. And so depending on if you would be someone who is left from a job or a relationship, or if you are the person being left, are you this energy or are you that energy? If some people had someone communicate with them, trying to tempt them in their ego, the high vibe people are putting in work and effort to keep focused on love as what they invest their time, energy, and effort into and how they make decisions in their life. And that helps them move forward and not get caught up in their ego, whether they're in a romantic relationship or not. And because some people in their Scorpio energy are more attached to doing life as they've done it instead of being more bold and brave and confident, they are the people who would be more tempted to make their life more about money and materialism. Again, high vibe Scorpio, are you willing to explore the mysteries of life emotionally? Or are you someone who doesn't like to take more bold, brave, confident action in your life and might be someone who likes to repeat old patterns of ways of being, and we all like to stay in our comfort zone? And are you someone who's maybe more okay with being emotionally shallow and superficial in a relationship, or being in a relationship with people who are like that? Kind of like, is that your comfort zone? And the people who can't live their life like that, they're moving on. It's like with the people in their life who also aren't like that and looking to be in a relationship with people who aren't like that. Okay, I think we'll end it there, Aries. Oh, if some people were if they were like a loving high vibe person and they were in a relationship with someone who might be a little bit more worldly focused, they could have been trying to put a lot of work and effort with a partner to try to get them to quit moving forward in this more worldly, materialistic, egoic, image-based way of life and trying to get them to stand up for themselves. For some of them, it could work. For some, they're realizing, I have been strong enough, and it seems like no matter what I do, this person just keeps going back to their more emotionally defensive and egoic way of life. And some people are realizing this relationship needs to come to an end. And, you know, again, if we're being loving and encouraging and supportive and we're not being defensive and stubborn and egoic and all about, you know, keeping up with the Joneses, and you're in relationship with people who view life that way, you know, it gets really old. And, you know, if they have no interest in living their life any differently, which has to do with, are you willing to take more creative, inspired action and look at life as an adventure to be lived, or do you not want to do that and you want to keep living life the way you've always lived it? And some people realize this relationship needs to come to an end. I do want to work with loving people who are more bold and brave and creative. And if that's what I align with within myself, those are the type of people I want to be in a relationship. And I need to be willing to stand up for myself. And because people who are shadowy and being indulged in a relationship, they really have, you know, they'd have to be self motivated to get out of some of their fear and their insecurity and their more egoic way of living life. And some people aren't motivated to do that on their own, even if they are in a loving, encouraging environment. And then if they have people who keep being strong and keep putting in work and effort with them, well, then they have certainly no motivation to have to change, because you keep putting in effort to kind of indulge them. You know, until people stand up for themselves, it's like there either has to be change and you have to grow up and mature yourself, because they are kind of aligning with their more immature way of being. And they need to grow up and mature themselves and start tempering their pride and ego. They're worth more than what they wear and what they drive and where they went on vacation. And our life is more important than people seeing us out in the world and what we put on Facebook, blah, blah, blah. You know, that's not the truth of our life. And I want our life to be about the truth of our life and get out of living this egoic, focused life. And if there's not any inspired action taken, then I'm going to stand up for what I believe in, because I want my dreams to come into reality. And it's not to be in a relationship like this. I'm not interested in keeping up with the Joneses. I'm not interested in playing the political social games of who out humiliated who and who shamed who and who snubbed who. I want to go live my life in peace and joy. Who's coming with? Some people might know someone they would like to work with in a relationship. And in the Five of Wands or the Six of Wands, you know, it could be about if they know someone who's been standing up for themselves, who isn't taking impulsive, reckless action in their life to just go jump in a relationship because of whatever reason, and they had people in their life that were defensive to kind of acting high vibe Taurus with character and integrity and getting out of their ego, someone might want to work with someone who they know is like that, and they're going to go communicate with them. You know, I was in my own situation. I had some lessons to learn. I was trying to love and encourage someone, and I'm done. I'm ready to stand up with you, and I'd like to be your friend, you know, if it's not a romantic relationship or at work or whatever. But you just have to be careful. Part of the game of life is listen to your intuition. There might be other people who got in relationships with someone, but the people they got in relationship with kind of aren't indulging them, or they were very prideful and egotistical. And this person now wants to work with you, but there's still someone who's in their ego. They haven't changed at all, even if they were someone you know or don't know. There's someone who's they're more aligned with ego. It's just that the relationship they got in didn't work out for some reason, but they're still someone in ego. So you got to listen to your intuition. And the people that are harnessing shadowy Aries energy, which can be, I think things should be more about me. I think it should be more about my wants and my needs and my lust and my greed and my pride and my ego. And I want to indulge myself in a relationship. I think it's just unfair for me to be that way. And yeah, you're going to stand up for yourself. It's like, I've already been in relationships with people like that, and I ended those relationships. And I have no interest in being in a relationship with that, like that again. Now, if you've put in work and effort to gain insight and wisdom about your philosophy of life and how you used to view relationships, and you've offered love to your philosophy of life, and you're now not making and taking action in your life because of defensiveness or ego or fear or insecurity, but because you're someone who's acting with character and integrity, yeah, I'm willing to work with you in a relationship. So some people will do that. Some people have been doing that. Some people have been in relationships and are in relationships with people like that. And then some people haven't been doing that. Some people got out of relationships with people who weren't doing that. And the people who didn't want to temper their ego and have their way of viewing life because other people are moving on in whichever way they're moving on, some of these people are going to communicate with someone who they know has a lot of money, a materialism, status, image, power, whatever those things of the world that they want. And they're going to temper their pride and ego in order to get those things that they want from that person. They probably won't temper their pride and ego for people who are offering them love, because love isn't what drives and motivates them. I want those things of the world. Now, for those people, I'll temper my pride and ego. I'll lick their boots. I'll say yes, dear, at everything they say. Oh, that was so funny. You know, they'll put aside their own dreams and wishes to get those things of the world. Some people sell their soul. So there you go, Aries energy. I wish you peace, love, and joy, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.